So in just 9 short weeks, my strong, vibrant bodybuilder son, who went to the gym 6 days out of 7, was extremely health conscious, worked 2 jobs, now needs a wheelchair to get from the car to his hospital appointments. And one of the hardest things that I've ever had to do is to sit in the consulting room with my son and hear the doctor say there is currently no cure and that this is something they will manage with medication. So, as you might imagine, fear hit me like a sledgehammer. But on the surface, I'm calm and I'm positive, trying to, hold the space for Nathan to hear this news. But inside, I felt the test of fear arrive. Fear of the unknown and fear of what's to come. Trying not to let Nathan see that I'm fearful of what he's going through and the fear of what he might have to endure. But of course, I looked to the co-founder of this ministry, our beautiful Reverend Flowery Newhouse, for insight, because I remembered that her husband, as most all of you will know, the co-founder of this ministry, Lawrence Newhouse, he had been diagnosed with a terminal illness many years before Flower, his wife, was to return home to the realm of God. And I wondered, how did Flower respond to hearing this news? Did she experience fear? With her unparalleled clairvoyance and her deep inner sight into the inner realms, was she afraid? I don't know about you, but I think it's very easy for those of us to think, especially those of us who didn't know Flower when she was in a physical body, it's easy to assume that maybe she was immune to emotions such as fear and uncertainty. And I did some research and found in her writings that yes, she most certainly experienced fear. But not only did she experience fear, she gave advice on what to do with it. And Flower wrote, "Now, during fear, you lose or could lose your identity." And is that not the truth? You could be so afraid that you forget who you are. And so the one thing, Flower said, that brought her back from seeing any situation that's terribly frightening, such as when the surgeon told her that her husband had inoperable cancer and would live only a few months, Flower said the one thing that she could think of was be anchored in God. And the second thought that came to her was, I must not lose myself in this fear. Flower said this was the hardest test that she had ever met. The test was fear, and the answer always the same, be anchored in God. I must not lose myself in this fear. The answer is always the same, no matter the fear, no matter the test. Trust in God and do not lose yourself in the fear. When you're in fear, you're in a wilderness. And let me tell you, I was in the wilderness. And I'd read somewhere that when you're living in fear and you're a person of faith, you're in a wilderness waiting on God for deliverance. The wilderness is where the identity of God's people is revealed, and how we go through that fear is determined by our level of faith. So I realised that if I'm going to bring my son through this as whole as he can be, no matter what the outcome is, I can't do this with fear in my heart. I cannot do this if I allow fear to overwhelm me. So my only choice is to transform the fear. I don't want to live in fear, so I made the choice, the decision, to give fear up for Lent and longer. And my prayer was for God to help me stop worrying and just rest in his promises, one of which is to consider the lilies and trust that God knows exactly what Nathan and I need.